At this time, I'm proud to present Ira D. Cohen as the 2016 Metropolitan College Commencement Speaker and recipient of the Distinguished Alumni Award, honoring service to the profession and to the alma mater. Ira Cohen has more than 30 years of experience in the technology industry as an investment banker, private equity investor, and chief financial officer. Some of you may recognize him as one of the gurus of the merger and acquisition issues surrounding information technology firms. In August 2010, he led the merger of Update Advisors into Signal Hill Capital, at which he is currently a managing director and board member. Signal Hill traces its roots to the investment banking firm, the earliest investment banking firm in the nation, Alex. Brown and Sons, and is currently the largest investment banking firm in the United States, focusing on technology, media, and telecommunications for Growth Company. Ira is also chair of Signal Hill's Indian subsidiary. In 2011, Ira joined the New York Angels, an independent consortium of over 80 individual accredited angel investors. Like many of you, when he came to Boston University, he was an accomplished professional, well into a successful career, motivated by a desire for personal satisfaction and hoping to formalize his life experience. More than 30 years after earning his bachelor's degree, he obtained his master's in banking and financial services management, graduating from the online program in 2007. In 2012, he accepted a seat on Metropolitan College's Board of Advisors, while also volunteering to facilitate a number of online courses in finance. In 2015, he was appointed as part-time faculty in the Department of Administrative Sciences, lending his vast corporate financial expertise to graduate courses in finance. Please welcome him to the podium.
Good afternoon, graduates, class of 2016. It is such an honor to be here today. Thank you, Dean Slotova, for inviting me to speak. I know I'm following a class act. This time last year, the famed chef and one of our own outstanding professors, Jacques Pepin, stood here and inspired graduates with his tale of academic struggle and triumph in America as a young, uneducated cook. He was very charming and very French. So let me start by making this disclaimer. My name is Ira Cohen. I'm not French, and I can't cook. I'm actually from the Bronx in New York City. Thank you. I am the son of loving but tough second-generation Americans who instilled a solid work ethic in me from a very young age. I took my education very seriously, and I applaud all you graduates for taking yours seriously too. There is nothing more valuable in this world than education. Today you have reached an astonishing milestone that marks the end of an important journey. You've done something that can never be undone, that will shape your future no matter how you use it. because you came here every day or evening, you logged on, you participated, you listened and learned and absorbed and responded. You've made a giant leap towards something new and different. I hope you are very proud of yourselves. When my kids graduated just a few years ago, I was so proud of them, overjoyed even. I knew now that I would have a better chance to end up in a nice retirement home in Florida. I guarantee you, your families, and friends are proud of your accomplishments too. Almost 75% of you work full-time and still managed to get here today. That is tremendous. You made a choice to work around your other responsibilities rather than let them stand in the way. You chose not to settle for what you already knew. You chose curiosity over stasis. More than 50% of you were curious enough to complete your courses online, which takes amazing discipline and focus, and which means over half of you have never even laid eyes on each other, let alone shared notes after class. It probably also means that your college experience consisted of way less sex, partying, and beer pong than it might have for students at other colleges, which I can kind of relate to. I was a nerd. Maybe still am. You may never have met each other, but all of you have one thing in common: a superior education. You've all just graduated from highly ranked and award-winning programs according to the U.S. News and World Report. Okay, so you're going to get your degree as soon as I finish. Where do you go from here? What lies beyond the buffet reception out there? What does tomorrow hold? It was really interesting for me to watch some of the testimonial videos from last year's commencement celebration. Some of the students interviewed said they knew exactly what they wanted to do. They pretty much had the job title already picked out. Others had absolutely no idea. One guy, in a cinematic European accent, said, "Hey, who knows? The sky is the limit, right?" But here's the thing. Here's the sage advice I was invited to bestow upon you today. It doesn't matter whether you know what you're going to do right now or not. The only two things you should know are these. One, you're now on track towards something better. You saw a chance at gaining more knowledge, more experience, more adventure, and more success, and you dared to admit that you were deserving and capable of it all. That's a big deal. It takes guts to see your potential and to brave the unknown path towards it. Two, there is no track. I repeat, there is no track. At least not one that takes you from point A to point B. The old theory that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line is absolutely not true today. That type of journey is the kind your grandparents and maybe even your parents might have taken. It was linear, it was predictable. They went to kindergarten, they went to grade school, middle school, high school, and then they either went to college if they could swing it, or they got a job. It was the kind of track that had them rising from the lowest ranks of the company to the top, or just doing the same job for 50 years perfectly comfortably. These days, being on track means not being on a track at all. More and more graduates like you have a multi-storied vision for their future. Jobs that once required a unique set of disciplines are becoming hybrids. Work and workers are now being redefined as we enter a gig-based world. You can post an article on Medium and call yourself a journalist. You can make a video and post it on Facebook, and suddenly you're a digital marketer. You can become a broadcaster using Periscope or Facebook Live. The world is changing, and a lot of that is due to technology. A drone that yesterday captures information for the military today films a movie, and tomorrow will help Amazon deliver that plush monogram bathrobe you ordered for $20.16. Being on track nowadays means you're going to derail many, many times, and that you may arrive at your destination by taking the most circuitous route imaginable. Some of these derailments will be intentional. Some will be totally accidental, but they will all have value. You will have the luxury to keep exploring, keep changing and shifting and pivoting throughout your careers. And as graduates of Met, you're already ahead of the game when it comes to navigating this unpredictable road. There's a good chance that by enrolling at Met, you actually took your first of a series of major derailments. That is, you knowingly changed your lives in some significant way to attend classes and graduate today. You were traveling in one direction and you decided to take a left turn. What's to say that you won't find what you're looking for when you make another massive change? What if taking a right turn next time, instead of sticking with the same route, is the choice that ultimately keeps you on track to that more knowledgeable, more experienced, more adventurous, more successful you? Some of you right now may be thinking, this guy, me, is on some kind of drugs. But remember, I was a nerd. I never did any of that fun stuff, so I'm speaking completely seriously. The good news is this should all come naturally to you because you're all terriers. And if there's one thing I know about terriers from an extensive Google search, is that they are a scrappy, tenacious breed who know how to follow a scent no matter what direction it takes them. I also found out that they bark ferociously at strangers and are highly motivated by incentives like treats. Take from that what you will. I'm proud to be a terrier myself. 9 years ago, I was in your seat. I graduated with my MS in banking and financial services from Met, just like some of you. Back in the 70s, that's the 1970s, thank you, I graduated from the City University of New York. I had an opportunity to get my MBA from Columbia University, but I couldn't afford to go. It would mean giving up a job that paid me $14,000 a year, and that was impossible. I had worked all through college, even though tuition was actually free, so I could afford books, registration fees, and paying my parents for living at home. On top of going to college, I worked 40 hours a week for a top-tier accounting firm. The payoff was that I would have a job right out of college, and indeed, I stayed at the firm for another 5 years. Once I started my career in public accounting, though, I quickly realized the money and the excitement was on the other side of the table. The CFOs I was dealing with made more money, had a better lifestyle, and they drove better cars than I did. Candidly, the Mercedes appealed. Instead of being an advisor, I set my sights on the CFO position. I knew I could do a better job than most of the people I dealt with. So I derailed from accounting. The next job gave me M&A experience, and by 1979, 6 years after I graduated from college, I was offered the CFO position at a publicly traded company listed on the American Stock Exchange. When you reach your lifelong goal at 29, you have to work even harder to find the next challenge. After my stint as a CFO of a public company, I then went on to be a CFO at another public company that I helped to take private as an owner, and then sold it a few years later. After that experience, I co-founded first an investment bank, and then a private equity firm. If my experience seems underwhelming and lacking in panache, it's just because I'm not French. But there are other stories just like my own that are really fascinating. Take David Rubenstein, for instance. He's the head honcho at Carlyle Group. He quit a major law firm as a partner to form Carlyle, which is now the world's largest private equity firm. He spoke candidly about the change in direction, saying, and I quote, "I realized I was going somewhere that wasn't going to take me where I wanted to be," end quote. Or by now, if you don't already know her, you all must know Marcia Clark. She was the state prosecutor who lost the O.J. Simpson case. She went on to pursue her childhood love of storytelling and is now writing crime fiction novels. Today she will tell you, and I quote, "I'm living my dream now, and I'm happy," end quote. Some of the biggest brands today also pivoted from their original business models to our collective benefit. Twitter, for example, began life as Odeo, a podcasting platform, but no one had listened to Serial at that point, so who even knew what a podcast was? And Apple was already dominating this space with iTunes. So Odeo had to scramble to reinvent itself. Jack Dorsey asked, what if we just create a simple social networking site based on a person's status? And so the tweeting began. And then there's Instagram. Before you were posting pictures of your cat with a vignette effect and a lo-fi tint, Instagram was a combination of elements of Foursquare and Mafia Wars. I know a bit about Foursquare, but don't know that much about Mafia Wars. I was too busy Googling terriers to try to find out. These stories are great examples of how pivoting away from failure or even success can lead to greater success. But more challenging is knowing how to take a different direction or a different road to somewhere less obvious when you're doing just fine as it is. The real art of staying on this mythical track is about being brave enough to step away from it. You have to identify the gaps in your knowledge, the skills that may make your journey more fulfilling, and the regret you have for the things you haven't done. And you have to go and search for them too. One thing I noticed while watching the testimonial videos from last year is that when asked about their experience at Met, not one student replied, "Well, it was exactly what I thought it would be," because nothing ever is. And the more you can anticipate that and use it to your advantage, the better. Today, graduates, you have arrived at a milestone indeed, but it's more than that. Ahead of you, you have myriad routes. Keep your eyes open. Keep looking around for opportunities that may not be immediately visible. Don't be afraid of derailment. The right track is the one right for you, and as long as you're in the driver's seat, even if it's a driverless car, it will take you wherever you want to go. Congratulations, class of 2016.